Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 19 of What If Naruto Awakened, the Yellow Rinnegan after his exile. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Too Advanced for His Age over on Anime King 2. And enjoy that, guys. And I also post a brand new episode of What If Naruto, well, the final episode, guys, over on Anime King of What If Naruto Was Trained by All the Greats at a Young Age. So go ahead and check out that, guys, the final episode of that. But don't worry, because you guys already know that new What Ifs are coming out soon for you guys to enjoy. So sit back, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, the Hidden was in ruins, as many had died from the explosion. But all was not lost. They still had the people. Once they had the people, the Hidden was not dead. As Nagato blamed himself, but Konan told him not to. This was not his fault. This was not his doing. This was all Madara. And only him, as she was surely gonna make him pay for what he did. Meanwhile, as Naruto had arrived, the Raikage instantly attacked Naruto. Naruto stood there as Raikage unloaded punches after punches, but they all failed to do anything, as Naruto armor absorbed all the punch chakra and simply reflected back at the Raikage that sent the man sailing across the room. Stepping inside, Naruto saw that Madara was already there, as Sasuke and Kisame was there as well, as he just came here to talk though. Madara had planned all of this because he knew that Tsunade would not fight against Naruto. This should show them more effort for them to take down Konoha and use the rest of the forces to attack Naruto. But Naruto didn't really care about that, as he announced himself as Uzukage, as Mifune told him that he had to be acknowledged by the other Kages, but Naruto didn't really care. There won't be Kages for much longer, as he told him that in order to end all of the world's suffering and pain, all of this violence, all Ninja Village must fall. All military power must loosen, as they thought that he was speaking madness, as Tsunade was pissed off. She never thought that Naruto would come up with something like this. This was going to start another world war. Yes, that was indeed what he started a war, as Madara and Sasuke and Jugo for the time being would be on the Shinobi Alliance side even if they didn't want their help or not. As long as he took down Naruto, that was good. But once they took him down, he would use the aid of Kabuto to wipe out the remaining Alliance force because they would be weakened. And that is his ultimate goal here. And no one will be able to stop him. And he will get what is finally his. As they end up retreating, as Naruto was attacked by the Kages, they wouldn't allow him to leave. But he left anyway by just blowing them all away. As he made his way straight towards Konoha, he's been putting this off for too long. It's finally time that he end this. Danzo was completely shocked. He didn't know that Naruto knew anything about him, so that is why it came to him as a shock when Naruto arrived here. As Naruto slaughtered every single root agent. That caused commotion in Konoha because he was throwing around high-level ninjutsu that created explosions underground. As Jiraiya had the Anfus track it, seeing that Jiraiya was current Hokage at the moment, until Tsunade got back. As Naruto didn't face off against Danzo, Naruto ended up killing the man. But Danzo appeared once again as he used the Kodomasu Kami on Naruto. But he was foolish enough to believe that it would actually work against Naruto. As Naruto stood back up and grabbed him by the face. As Naruto used the serpents to completely get rid of Danzo's chakra system inside of that arm. As he saw what he did to come back alive. As he went through the man's mind, getting all of his memories and the disgusting dark things he has done. Naruto was going to make sure that he received every amount of punishment he deserved. Every amount of pain that he felt, Danzo was going to feel all of it tenfold as he pulled out a small knife from a seal. As Kenny and Hana gave this to him when they went out to hunt wild boars. And now Naruto was going to use it to inflict as much pain as possible, slowly and painfully on Danzo. A few minutes later, Jiraiya and the group arrived. Him and a group of Anvu, as one of them had found the open path in the earth, which they followed as they started to find the bodies of the root agents. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across to the place and check it out for yourself. So just to begin this new episode, Jiraiya was appalled to what he saw. It has been a couple of years speaking to his sensei about this matter. Yes, he spoke to his sensei about this. The secret organization known as Root, which his sensei had disbanded. But it seems like Danzo kept it going. His Anvus had spread out in the base. At the moment, seeing that he was acting Hokage, he was commanding them. Jiraiya saw bodies littering everywhere, some of them embedded into the wall, broken, their mask still on their face. As Jiraiya was shocked and appalled to what he saw, he then heard an explosion as he had to stood his ground as a force rushed down the tunnel way. He quickly made his way forward as Jiraiya arrived to the room where he saw his Anvus lying on the ground, slowly picking himself up. They were blasted back. It was then that Jiraiya saw it, a sight that haunted him. It was Naruto. The possibility never came to his mind to think that Naruto would be behind this. Why would Naruto go after Danzo? It was then that Jiraiya saw it. The manga form of whatever Naruto did to Danzo. Danzo didn't have his legs or arms attached anymore. They were severed and left to the side. A strange, ghostly, transparent figure, seemed to be a serpent of some kind, was coming from Naruto's back and going into Danzo. Jiraiya was certain that this was the reason why Danzo was still alive. Somehow Naruto was aiding him and stopping him from dying. Danzo seemed to be in the worst pain possible that any human being can feel. Blood was leaking from his mouth like a river. As Jiraiya noticed why, Naruto had removed the man's tongue. His left eye was carved out of his skull. Many deep slashes were across the man's chest. A painful expression that looked like he wanted to scream, but no words were coming out. Naruto, what have you done? Said Jiraiya, as his Anvus all stood at attention, ready for his order. Something I've been holding myself back from a long time ago. But now that the war is coming, I figure, why wait? Wait, what? What war? He said. He knew that Tsunade was going to meet and discuss a way of ending this. What the hell was Naruto talking about? I assume that you're the current acting Hokage, so you would know. But there's a war coming, Jiraiya. Seems like the other nations are going to try to take Usa down, and me. With that, Naruto slowly got to his feet, his pristine red armor glistening a bit from the ceiling light. As Jiraiya saw blood staining Naruto's hands, blood splashed on his face. He looked like a true monster, the devil itself. His face showed no sickening or outward reaction towards Danzo's state. For one thing, he looked pleased. Why did you do this? Jiraiya said. You will have to talk to Tsunade about what the hell Naruto is going on about war. You asked me once why I was doing all of this. What could have happened that changed me so much? Now I feel I can tell you. As Naruto glanced towards the Anvus, they weren't making a move. He paid them no mind other than that single glance. Leaving Konoha, I was all alone. I was afraid, scared. I didn't know what to do. I even gave up on being a shinobi anymore because I thought, what was the point? Couldn't be Hokage, right? What was the point of living? That thought even came to my mind. Jiraiya felt terrible hearing that Naruto almost wanted to... Yes, I know what you're thinking. I almost wanted to end it all, but I kept on going. I was freezing to death in a cave, but I was approached by someone. Someone that became my best friend along with her brother for 8 long months. A girl named Hana. You know, I never knew what love was back then. But thinking about it now, I think that I loved her. After all, seeing her made my stomach feel all queasy. And I smile when she smiles. I'm happy when she's happy. I came to see her brother as my little brother as well. Everything was going great, and the old man, as a sort of grandfatherly figure. The old man was the chief of the town. That helped everyone. Given my skills as a ninja, I started to help people as well. And everything was going great until Naruto's fist clenched, but then he released quickly. This man here, Naruto says, he pointed at Danzo. Danzo's mouth was still wide open, his one eye glanced around the room silently, as he couldn't even scream out in pain, as he was tired of screaming, although he was suffering a pain that no one should ever suffer. Unbearable, agonizing pain. He sent his root ninjas after me, and they end up killing Kenny and Hannah. But not only that, they buried the village that I was in, killing everyone in the process. You ask me why I've changed. That is the whole reason right there. Someone came by, and they let me saw the world for what it truly is. Suppose I don't have to hold back anything now. It was Nagato, said Naruto. So, he's still alive? Yes, said Naruto. And now that the entire world has turned against me, which I knew would happen when I finally told them what I have in mind for them. Which is, said Jiraiya. Complete control, Naruto said. And what do you mean by that, Jiraiya asks. There's only one way to stop all of this nonsense, and that is for one rule to take place. The major villages will never stop harassing the smaller villages. The smaller villages will never stop harassing the civilian villages. It will just keep on going in a cycle, no matter what. So that is why I'm going to end all of it. With the power I have at my disposal, I'm going to dismantle each village control. All Kages must fall. Jiraiya clenches fist. Does that include the Hokage? Yes. So are you saying that you're willing to kill Tsunade for this plan of yours? If she doesn't listen, there's no other option. After everything we've been through, after everything that happened to convince her to come back here, you would kill her for this stupid plan of yours. At the moment, Jiraiya, I will kill anyone to make sure my people are safe. And what about us? After all, you know I'm your godfather. Tsunade saw you somewhat of a annoying grandchild. You call her Bachan. You saw her as your grandmother back then. What about your friends? What about the girl you used to love, Sakura? Are you gonna just throw all of that away for this stupid, meaningless cause of yours to go up against the entire elemental nations? Because trust me, even though you're strong, you will die. You can't face everyone alone. Who said I was alone? It doesn't matter who you have. The entire world is against you, Naruto. You can't do this. It's already done. And there's no turning it back now, said Naruto. I've already declared war on all of them, and they're coming. And I'm gonna take each and every one of them down if I have to. If you know what is best for you and Tsunade, and this entire village, stay out of it. Tell her to step down as Hokage, and relinquish all leadership over Konoha. Because if you don't, let me guess, you're gonna kill her. Yes. Jiraiya was still surprised to believe that he was actually speaking to Naruto. His tone was cold, ruthless, no sympathy. Your father would be ashamed of you, said Jiraiya. He wasn't expecting this reaction. My father? Naruto started to laugh. The Anvus went on edge when his laugh didn't end in a second or a minute. He just kept on laughing, as he threw back his head and started to laugh even more, as his eyes focused on Jiraiya. My father? You mean the man who condemned me for this village? You mean the man who left me to suffer at the hands of these villagers? Who put a giant demonic fox inside his newborn baby son, just so he can protect this worthless, corrupt, dark, disgusting village? You mean that man? He will be disappointed? Why should I care? After all the crap he put me through, after the brutal torturing that he gave Danzo, all of the feelings that Naruto has been feeling, everything that he has been holding back was now coming out on the surface. He has finally gotten what he wanted and he was releasing it all. All of the pent up rage, all of the anger, everything. he was releasing all the sadness, all the grief. He even find out that his father was Minato. Naruto never showed any much reaction because he held it back. But now, it was starting to leak from him. All of that pent up rage. That caused something bad to happen. Meanwhile, inside the seal in his stomach, the serpents were tearing away at the seal. They were trying to break it. As Naruto didn't even notice what was going on, his adrenaline, his anger was flaring too much as the seal was being ripped piece by piece. You of all persons stand there, saying that you would be disappointed. You should know, I'm no longer a naive, stupid, idiotic child. At first, I let everything slide, forgiving everyone, always looking out for the best interests of Konoha, always risking my life for this damn village. And yet, what does it give me in return? Banishment. And this man who killed my friends, this man who took the last piece of hope I had left back then and tore it to shreds. When I woke up, I didn't even want to live. The only thing I had on my mind was revenge. I constantly trained, pushing myself to the peak of exhaustion just to kill this man. And you dare stand there telling me that my father would be disappointed. That man who left me behind to suffer at the hand of the villagers, knowing full well how Jinchurikis are treated. Not to mention my mother. After all, I know that she was a Jinchuriki as well. The both of them knew this. They knew what would happen, and yet they still decided to seal the beast inside me. It was the only way to protect Konoha. Screw Konoha, said Naruto as he stepped forward. This village deserved nothing, no sympathy, nothing from me. As Jiraiya started to notice something as Naruto was talking. You expect me to stop now, after all the crap that has happened? Well, no. I'm giving you this final warning. When she get back, tell her to surrender. Relinquish all control over the village. Because the next place I'm going is towards the Fire Daimyo. And if that man stands in my way, the moment he shows a slight hesitation, the moment he resists, I'll slaughter him as well. As Naruto started to step forward, the Anvus all tense. Now move. Jiraiya stood still. I can't do that. You came into Konoha and killed High Elder. And for that I can't allow you to leave. Kill the Elder? Naruto's voice became rather cold. After everything, you're stopping me because I killed the Elder. Because I killed this man. Naruto walked over as he slowly picked up Danzo by his throat. The Anvus looked towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya did not give him the go-ahead. Danzo was barely alive at this point. His eyes were unfocused, as Danzo was just praying for death at this moment. Yes, he wanted to die. He couldn't take the pain anymore, the suffering. He couldn't take it. His body was shredded, torn and everything. He just needed to die at the moment. He was praying for someone to kill him and take him out of his misery. As Naruto tossed him up in the air, one of the Anvus moved forward only for several tails to impale him. As blood, the last shred of blood, escaped Danzo's mouth. Finally, he thought to himself, as one of the tails ripped right through his heart. The tails then expand and tore Danzo to pieces, shredding the man's remaining body to pieces. I think I had enough fun torturing him. Jiraiya saw the sick, twisted smile on Naruto's face. He's become a monster. Well, him and this village turned me into it. Now, if you don't move, things are gonna get bad. So move. Jiraiya stood his ground. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you, kid. But I can't allow you to pass. The only way to stop this now is by killing you. Because even if we manage to capture you, the other nations will want you dead. So I'm gonna do it, kid. I'm gonna take the responsibility of taking you out of your misery. I hope, in some other twisted world, if we ever meet again, you'll be able to forgive me. Jiraiya, move, said Naruto. Jiraiya did not move, as he gave the signal for the Anvus to hold Naruto for him to finish this, as he held out his hand. Naruto saw the Anvus coming towards him, as his anger, his pressure started to rise even more. These people, After everything, the words came coming back to him. Jiraiya was going to stop him because he killed a village elder. After all that miserable, old, decrepit man has done, Naruto's rage flared once again. The serpents bit on the last remaining piece of seal and pulled, and they ripped right through it. Fuin Jutsu was all linked together by chakra. The chakra that was sustained in the Fuin Jutsu ceiling was now completely shredded, and with that chakra flow gone, the seal started to unravel. Naruto suddenly fall down as he clenched his face in pain. The Anvus grabbed his hand as they held him up. Jiraiya formed the Rinnegan as he stepped forward. As he moved, he was going to end this. He didn't know what just happened, but he was going to end this. There was no other way. He has to stop the kid. He has to take him out for the safety of this world. To prevent any more bloodshed, he has to kill him. Forgive me, Minato, Kushina. I failed. But this is the only way to stop him now. This is the only way to prevent another bloodbath from happening in this world. Naruto's eyes shot open as a split came in the middle of his Rinnegan. A single split, similar to the Kyuubi eye. As Naruto roared, a massive, great, terrible roar that shook the underground base. His hands started to get large. The two Anvus holding on to him couldn't hold him anymore, as his large hand grabbed him and smashed their heads together, squishing them like they were bugs. Rasengan, Jiraiya said as he moved the Rasengan forward, aiming right towards Naruto's face, as that armor of his looked like it was tough. Knowing the Uzumakis, he wouldn't dare to, aim at the armor, as Jiraiya felt the guilt run through his chest, but he knew he had to do it. But Naruto grew too fast, as the Rasengan smashed against the armor that had came up where Naruto's face was supposed to be. As Naruto's body had gotten taller, Jiraiya looked up. As Naruto's fangs extended, Naruto's body started to grow in size. Jiraiya then watched a strange golden glow came over the armor that he was wearing, as the armor started to expand in size, as Naruto started to lose his mind in rage. The power so potent, so fluent, so deadly and corrosive, his 9 tails extended outwards. They burst through the earth, tearing it to shreds. Meanwhile, in the village of Konoha, it was a rather peaceful day. The tremors had stopped, so everybody had returned back to normal. At the Hyuga compound at the moment, Hinata was currently in the field sitting down. She was panting as she has currently trained today for a long while. At the moment she was completely exhausted. As she felt another tremor, she felt those were over. She activated her Byakugan as she wanted to see if it was really an earthquake. As she scanned underground, her eyes scanned the entire area. That was when she saw something strange, like a tail. A giant tail that was extending under Konoha. She was confused what this was, as she followed the tail up to the person, rather thing that was growing in size. Her eyes went wide. As the people and the civilians were walking around, they were calm. Everything was going good today. The tremors had came to a stop, when suddenly, boom! A massive explosion erupted in the forest of the village. The massive forest that surrounded it. Something had torn through the earth. Jiraiya leaped away, as shinobis quickly made their way forward to see what in God's name was going on. A roar could be heard that shook Konoha. People of all ages and sizes looked up, as they saw their worst nightmare but in a different form. It was the Kyuubi. A massive beast. Long fangs. His eyes were golden with slits in them with a ripple pattern. Long massive claws. The thing was wearing a perfect set of clothing with armor that fully covered his body. 9 massive tails swinging behind it that created mini tornadoes that rippled through the forest. One sweep of his tail took out several trees. It stood on 2 foot. Its 2 arms slammed into the earth, trembling Konoha once again. The main forces made their way, as the Inoshikacho made their way to the front line. "What the hell is that?" said Choza. Inoichi looked at the massive beast, as Shikaku looked at it, as he placed a smaller image of Naruto that popped into his mind compared to this beast. As they all remember the rumors that a monster was fighting in Kiri, and they found out that it was Naruto. Is that Naruto?" said Shikaku, for once not showing a lazy attitude, as he didn't believe the sight. Meanwhile, the rookies all came together from the graduating class, as they were all gathered at the moment. Sakura was standing there, couldn't believe what she was looking at. Ino, eyes wide, looked up at the massive beast that was distance away from Konoha. Neji stood there. Lee, all of them, completely shocked. Shikamaru was the one to speak, get them out of their haze. Is that Naruto?" he said. Everyone heard him clearly, but he must be crazy or something. That can't be. They looked into his appearance as they saw the 6 whisker marks on his face. They couldn't see the thing's body. It was wearing an armor, but it looked mindless. Fangs protruding from its mouth, long claws instead of fingernails. The thing reared back its fist and smashed it into the earth. A crack came in Konoha as it traveled all the way to here. Jerry leaped back as he went through hand sign. "Summoning jutsu," he said as he summoned 3 toads. Gamaken, Gamabunta, and Gamahiro, as they all stood there, looking at the massive beast. "Jiraiya, what the hell is this?" said Bunta. "It's Naruto." He's lost it. Naruto's eyes were not paying attention to them though, as he looked towards the monument. He then pulled back his head as he started to gather something in his mouth. After a good 10 seconds, he opened it. Jiraiya's eyes went wide. "Move," he said. His eyes widened as the attack didn't come to them. It flew past them into the village. No! As Jiraiya rushed over, the thing moved with tremendous speed, a ball of pure condensed energy that slammed into the monument with tremendous force. The civilians that were being evacuated there, some of them were trampled by stones that fell down. Some of them quickly relayed ninjas, all flashing through hand signs, create a massive earth wall that stopped them from being trampled upon by the stones. The monument was no more. All the face of the Hokage was destroyed. Naruto and his beast form then started to move towards the village. Gamaken, Gamahiro, Bunta, stop him! As the 3 toads moved forward, knowing that this situation was life and death if they didn't do something. As Gamahiro pulled out his 2 blades, Gamaken pulled out his shield and his staff. Gamabunta pulled out his blade. The massive Naruto slammed right into Gamaken's shield, tipping the great toad over. He stabbed his claws, the toad screamed out in pain. Gamahiro then came in and sliced right at Naruto's throat, all for Naruto's tail to wrap around his sword and toss him over his shoulder. The toad smashed into the broken forest. It was then that Gamabunta came down, bearing his blade, only for Naruto to shot several tiers forward. Gamabunta had to leap back in fear of being skewered. Shikaku was passing on information rather quickly, getting the situation under control. A whole set of Naras made their way towards the front line as they went through hand sign. Shadow possession jutsu, they said, as a massive stream of shadow connected to Naruto's shadow. He was stopped for a moment. It was then that various techniques started to slam into Naruto over and over with tremendous force from all the ninjas down below. Naruto roared as Shikaku's eyes went wide as all of their shadow possession jutsu was absorbed into Naruto. All of the chakra was being sucked out of their body while they were connected to him. They had to quickly cancel their technique and move back. He raised his fist and brought it down. Boom! Many of them got crushed under the force as the earth was ripped and torn. He roared once again, blowing away several ninjas. The rookies all started to make their way towards the front line. This was bad. Really bad. Meanwhile, that was going on. Naruto found himself in a sewer. It was his mindscape. At the moment his body was being fluctuated with so much power, it was too much. It completely pushed his sanity to the back. And now, he was losing everything in his mind. That was until several chains wrapped around his stomach and torso and arms and yanked him out of the chakra, pulling him straight down to the ground. As Naruto blinked, he was still wrapped up. What the hell? He looked around, only to see two figures standing there. Naruto tried to get up, but he was wrapped up tight by the chains. They wouldn't allow him to move. "Who are you?" said Naruto. It was then that he took in their appearance. The both of them had rather disappointed looks on their faces. "What have you done, my son?" said Minato. As Naruto realized now, it was none other than his own father, Minato Namikaze, and the woman. So it was his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina didn't release the chains. As Naruto saw, her eyes were filled with tears. "Why are you crying?" he said. "Why? Why did you have to go so far? Why did you have to do all of this?" she said, her voice sounding broken. "How are you here? Didn't you die a long time ago? We placed our chakra into the seal to help you if it was necessary, and to also see you again. But I never imagined that this would happen," said Minato, his voice filled with regret. "Oh, didn't you?" said Naruto, as he was still bound by the chains. "You didn't imagine that this would happen after you condemned me to a life of pure suffering." Naruto said Kushina. You," said Naruto as he turned his eyes towards her. She saw the hate and fear in his eyes. It made her take a step back. "You were a Jinchuriki as well. You know what it means to suffer as a Jinchuriki, and yet you went along with his plan." "It was the only way," said Minato, "to save the village." "Screw the village," said Naruto. "After all that place has done to me, I don't give a damn about it anymore." Minato lowered his head. "I knew that things wouldn't be perfect, but I never expected this to happen, trust me, son. I never wanted this for you at all. You should have known that before you see that damn fox inside me." "Let me go," said Naruto. "No," said Kushina. "You plan on keeping me here," said Naruto. "Long enough for them to stop you out there." Tears now run down her cheeks. "To think that I would have to do this to my own son. It's unforgivable. I never wanted you to have a life like this, to go through so much pain and suffering. Now I had to stop you, for them to stop you out there." "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun," she said. "Release me," said Naruto. "No," said Minato. "I am taking responsibility for what I did to you. We are going to take responsibility," said Kushina. "We wronged you. The life that you live was unfair and unjust. But you've done so much, killed so many, and now you're planning on destroying everything. We can't allow you to do that. We're gonna stop you." "No." Some part of me thought that you guys would arrive and said, "We're still proud of you, despite everything you have done. After all, we saw how much the villagers treat you like crap. We saw how much you suffered. We saw what you went through. We saw when it came to the point when you wanted to take your life. We saw that day when you were in the mountains in the cold, when you held that kuna at your throat. You were going to slash your throat, but something told you to hold on. We saw how much pain you went through. We saw everything. And we're still proud of you no matter what. We saw everything, Naruto-kun." Some part of me thought that is what you were going to say. But yet, I got the complete turnaround. Huh. "So just because you gave me life, you're going to take it away, huh?" Kushina lowered her head, as she felt ashamed to even call herself a mother after what she let happen. Minato, feeling worse as well. Naruto started to laugh. "At least I got to meet you. To finally meet the two people that made my life a hell. Start from the beginning. I'm not some naive, stupid child to think that Because my parents is a Photokage and a Uzumaki, that I should be happy to meet you. Well, I'm not. Because I hate the both of you. I hate what you did to me. I hate how everything turned out. And I hate this entire world. You should be proud, mother. At least I'm trying to bring back the Uzumaki clan. But let me guess, you don't like the way I'm doing it, right? Well, I don't care. Because this can't stop me, said Naruto. Suddenly, Kushina's eyes went wide as the chain started to flex. As they started to crack. Boom, they exploded, blowing the two of them away. She couldn't believe it. Something slammed into their stomach before they could move. It was Naruto's serpents. As Naruto stood there in front of them, his eyes glistening golden in the light. Your attempt failed. I won't be the one going down today. And I won't be going down at all. And I won't be stopped, said Naruto. As he shredded their chakra down to nothingness. They were gone. Naruto fell down towards his knees. Despite making that look easy, feeling cold-hearted, he always wanted to meet those people for his entire life. But seeing that they were giving that same bullcrap because they did it to protect Konoha, it made him hate them. Yes, he hated them for what they did. And nothing was going to change that, no matter what they said to him now. He slowly got to his feet. The mass of chakra was so thick that he could barely see around anymore. He then extended his arm. This will not control me. I will control it, he said, as he started to absorb it into his body. Meanwhile, outside the real world, as the three toads lie on the ground brutally beaten, the Konoha force was ready, a large supply of ninjas, all of them ready to fight. Many of them has been slaughtered. Hinata and Sakura stand together along with the rest of the rookies, as they all look towards the beast that has suddenly stopped. Hinata couldn't believe it. All hopes of bringing him back now. She didn't see it anymore, because, no doubt, they will want him dead for what he did. She felt her heart literally froze over. All emotions, everything, just gone. The one that she loved, she would never be with him. There will never be a world where they can be together because this world was going to be against him. Everything was going to be soon enough. She didn't even know if they can stop him as she glanced towards him. Slowly, a bright light covered his body as the power started to recede in. It took only a few seconds. The next moment, Naruto was standing there, in mid-air, his large size gone, returning back to his normal size. But this time, his eyes were different. They still had the slits in them, and not to mention his hair, it was no more spiky going straight down into his back. His armor has receded back on him as well, returning back to normal. As he stood there in mid-air, looking down at the large army, Naruto flexed his hands as he felt a power course through him. Power that he never felt before. He felt so much more powerful, as all the Fox power was now fully under his control. That brought a smile to his face as he looked down the Konoha ninjas. His eyes roamed over the rookies. All of them looked at him. No emotion were being shown on each of their faces. As Sakura didn't look away, she looked at him. She realized that there was no way she could save him now. There was no way that Team 7 can ever return back to normal. As Naruto slowly descended down towards the ground, Jiraiya was standing there, holding on to his shoulder that was cut, as he had gotten a nasty hit from one of the tails that really roughed him up badly, especially his shoulder. I must thank you, said Naruto. Jiraiya looked at him. For what? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't meet them. To think, they would seal some of their chakra away in a seal for me to meet them. Wait, are you talking about? Yes, my parents. So, what now? Jiraiya said, hoping that Naruto wouldn't turn back into that thing. Despite the short minutes, they have already lost over 50 ninjas. As he glanced towards the dead bodies that were trampled, he didn't even know about the village, security, and civilian casualty rate, After all, Naruto released a bomb that destroyed the monument, and civilians were heading there. It just increased my hate even more. What? Said Jiraiya. To know that they didn't have another answer but protecting Konoha. And, as I've told you before, screw Konoha. Get yourself ready, Jiraiya. There's no stopping it now. There's a war coming. And it seems like you won't fall back. So I'm afraid this will have to end in death. No peace talking, no treaty. You've not listened to my commands. So I'll have to forcefully take what I want, said Naruto. As he started to descend up into the air. Jiraiya knew that if they fought here, as Shikaku gave him the same look, things would be bad. So that is why they did not pursue him at the moment. Fighting near the village like this would cause so much chaos and casualties that they do not need at the moment. Not to mention Tsunade was not back yet. Despite being acting Hokage, he was still not Hokage fully. Tsunade and the others will have to give them the report on what happened at the meeting, because it seems like they're going up against Naruto in a war. As Naruto flew off with that, saying nothing else. Time skip. As Naruto made his way towards Uzo, as Rengoku assured him that nothing happened while he was gone. There was no one trying to invade. Seems that Madara knew that not even this space-time ninjutsu, he couldn't infiltrate. Also, at the moment Naruto was sitting on his bed, despite not feeling exhausted physically, he felt mentally drained after everything that has happened. After all the talks, all the realizations, his own parents being so disappointed in him, he just sat back. He wanted to sleep, to get some rest. He was so exhausted, mentally that is. Until he heard someone knock on his door. Who is it? He said. It's me, said a voice. Come in, said Naruto. The door opened up as Karen came in the room. She looked towards Naruto. Ever since you got back, the patrol Uzumaki has come back as well. There has been rumors. Huh? About what? Said Naruto. That there's a war coming. Is it true? And please don't lie to me, she said. You've never done it before. I know you do this to protect us all and keep us out of harm's way, but I want to know the truth. I had to stop Fu from running in here, because I saw you talking to Rengoku. You look exhausted. And I figure I would just ask you and leave for you to get some rest. Yeah, said Naruto. So there really is a war coming, huh? Naruto nodded once again. All of them, she said. Yeah, said Naruto. Huh. That's bad, isn't it? It doesn't matter. What? How can you be so flippant about this? When you say all of them, you mean the entire Shinobi Nation, right? Yeah, Naruto said. And it doesn't matter? Did you lost your mind out there or something? She said. She came closer as she stood on the bed as well. As they taught men time like this before, so it wasn't new or embarrassing or anything like that. She looked at him. You look different, she said, changing the subject for a moment. Really? Well, I feel more calm. How can you be calm in a time like this? Because I know that we will prevail. Naruto, you're strong and all, but this is bad. Really, really bad. Those Uzumakis are hundreds in number, but together, there are thousands of shinobis against us alone. Naruto smiled. That smile always put her at ease, but this time, she was worried. Don't worry, he said. His tone sounds so reassuring. She released a sigh. I've trusted you till now. What's the point of giving up faith now, she said. But there's something I want to say to you. Oh, said Naruto. I held back because I knew things were just starting up, and things were hectic for you at the moment. But know that this stupid war is coming. Even though I trust you, I know I'm not that strong. And I don't want to go out having any regrets. Before Naruto could say anything, she turned and pushed him down and planted a sweet, beautiful kiss on his lips. And there it was. Things felt different. Naruto always knew that he had feelings for Konan. Ever since the second time they went out on a date. Well, it wasn't really a date. But they ate together and went to restaurants in the hidden rain. As he never wanted her to be alone. When he was still dealing with the Akatsuki business. And they click. The same thing happened to him and Konan. And that confused him. After all, Kaido and Kaya said when they met it was true love at first sight. But he felt feelings for the both of them. She broke away. He kissed her back. And she was happy for that. She had been seeing him and Konan a lot together recently. So she didn't know if he had feelings for her. So she chanced it anyway. But when she stepped back, she saw the look on his face. It was conflicted. What's wrong? I slept with Konan, he said. She was taken aback by that. She never knew. Oh, I'm sorry, she said. She got up. Ready to walk away only for him to hold onto her hand. Before you go, just let me tell you. I like you as well, said Naruto. She was surprised to hear that. She thought, I like Konan too, he said. That shook her heart a bit. Being with you at the hidden rain, going on all our little dates. A small smile came to her face despite the situation. She thought that it was a date as well, despite them never really saying out loud. That brought happiness and warmth to my heart. Just being there with you when you talk about your day, of what happened between you and your friends. And I loved every single moment of it. But I don't know, it just happened to Konan as well. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do, said Naruto. This was the first time she was hearing him unsure about something. She turned back to face him. Do you love her? Naruto nodded. Do you love me too? She asked. She knew what she felt, and she knew that this wasn't simply like. After all their months at the hidden rain together, despite them not doing any physical contact, they bond. They went to restaurants. Breakfast. He cooked for her. And it was just wonderful. So she wanted to hear what he had to say. She wanted to know if he loved her as well. Yes, I love you too. That fluttered her heart. As she felt so conflicted now. She knew that this was a possibility that he might like Konan as well. So, what are they supposed to do? Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, breaking their thoughts. Who is it? It's Rengoku. Naruto looked towards Karen. We'll talk about this later, she said. Go deal with your business. He nodded as she sat on the bed. He walked out to meet Rengoku. As it was Konan. She had sent Rengoku to come and call him. He glanced towards the door. He really didn't know what to do. Here he was, debating about his love life when there was a war to come. As Naruto made his way, as Konan was waiting for him, she was the only one there, as she was outside, at the shores of Uzu. The moment she saw him, she came forward and kissed him, right on the lips. Mixing her soft touch, it warmed his heart. And he couldn't deny it now, because the feelings felt absolutely the same. He didn't love anyone of them less, or more. He loved the both of them. And it just conflicted him even more. She broke away. Is there something wrong? We'll talk about it later, said Naruto. As he knew there was something to discuss. What happened? Well, everything is ruined. Remember what you said about us uniting the village one time? Yeah, said Naruto. Well, wait. You want to bring them all here? Naruto wasn't against this idea. After all, having more manpower and having more people in the village would be good. Seeing that many of the houses were empty, many places were just vacant, seeing that many Uzumakis had died. She nodded. And you'll be living here, he said. Yes, of course, silly, she said. I'll be leaving the house with you. That made Naruto gulp a bit as she noticed. Are you sure everything's okay? Yeah. I'll talk to you about it later. We have bigger issues to deal with now. As he wondered, how was she gonna take it if he tell her about Karen? Huh. Look at the situation he found himself into. A love triangle. But he loved both women. Meanwhile, underground, Sasuke Uchiha was currently lying down on a table, as he was unconscious. Up against someone like Naruto, he was going to need all the power he can get. That is why the eye transplant had happened, and it was a success. Itachi eyes, as Sasuke had obtained the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. His eyes now need to rest for a while, before the bandages were off. Meanwhile, deep underground, as slowly, Madara made his way underground. He had a smirk under his mask. At his side was his loyal subordinate, Kisame, who was smirking as well as they made their way. Kisame whistled as he looked down the 100,000 white Zetsus. Huh, this is more than enough. So, how are you gonna play this out? Kisame asked. Well, once their allied forces are weakened, I will send them out to annihilate the rest of the shinobi forces. Then, Kabuto will come in with the reanimations and will overpower Naruto with it. Do you really think we need so much, said Kisame? I mean, the entire world is gonna go up against him. And Nagato, said Madara. Yes, the entire world is gonna go up against them. Do you really believe he's gonna survive that onslaught? Huh. The things I've seen that boy done already. There is no question it. Of course he's gonna survive. And I believe he's gonna slaughter anyone that come across his path. It is just up to us in the end to clean up the mess. And then take what we need. And everything shall be ours. Well, as long as I get a good fight, said Kisame with a smirk. Then I'm in. And that you will have, said Madara, as he chuckled to himself. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want the next part, this is what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.